Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing Ninja Gaiden 2 Black on the Series X, and this is my Master Ninja difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Chapter 11 of 17. It is entitled Night in the City of Water. It's Ayani stage, and in the description under the version notes section, I've noted that this chapter is played under patch version 1.0.7.0, and there's two applicable things on the patch notes that relate to Ayani. It doesn't go into any detail, but this is what it says. It says that the patch lowered the HP of enemies in Chapter 11, which this is, and then it also says raised the damage dealt by some of Ayani's attacks. So what attacks are those? It doesn't say. Do those changes apply to Master Ninja? It doesn't say. So I don't know. It did feel, just going by gut feeling, that I didn't have that much of a hard time going through this stage. But I had a hard time going through it when I played it on Sigma 2. But if they've altered it with those changes, not only lowering their HP, but augmenting some of the strength of her attacks. Oh, by the way, don't go over to the right over there. We'll go back there. I'm going to show you how to systematically get all of the items on this stage and do it in the safest way possible. And maximize your money as well without needing to spam UTs or anything like that. What I would recommend is, did you see where I fell back a moment ago? I crossed the tripwire point after I left that tunnel, because you don't want to do this fight over here where it starts. You want to spawn it and fall back as much as possible and throw daggers to try to delim enemies and get those mages out of the way as soon as possible. This doesn't, this method, it doesn't unspawn any enemies, but it causes them to have to catch up to what you're doing in erratic ways. And one of the ways that it does it is something that you'll see in a moment after I pick up an item on one of the roofs over here. They will materialize out of thin air when you get back to where the fight is supposed to be, theoretically fought. You can do it. In fact, if I had known how much of a not a struggle this chapter would be, I would have used like all the Nimpo on this fight over here and just had done with it, because you won't need any Nimpo on the boss. She just doesn't take to it. Oh, watch this. See this? They're all waiting for me down here. They weren't there when I went up, but they materialized when I came back over here. So you've got to be really careful about that. The mages are particularly deadly, so you're always fighting lichens on this stage and undead ninjas, and the undead mages can do those fire streaks on the ground as well as those fire geysers, so you need to be really careful about that. So Ayani's Azuna drop is XY XX XXXY. She's got a guillotine throw, so a safe way to go into the Azuna drop is to do a guillotine throw and then do the her Azuna drop, which I think is called the Lightwing Azuna. But yeah, if you try to do the fight over here, the camera is really hard to work with, and you're in a really narrow area, and it's very difficult. Her Nimpo is not very effective either. So once you get to the save point, we're going to go back to that area that I think I mentioned don't go over there at first. So now we are going to go over there. Just mind where all the item pickups are. And this is an optional area over here. Right over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to collect this item. I think these enemies spawn after you pick up the item. I'm going to UT all these enemies for money. And then it always so happens to me that I get 1 grain more than I need. So if that's anything to take consolation from, that's good as well. The hardest fight in my memory is the one that's immediately after the dragon statue, because it's in this narrow marketplace zone, and you've got a lot of mages that are just hell bent on grabbing you and doing their nimpo on you. This is just a kind of a luxury because we already have a save, and we can just come over here and make as much money off of the lichens as possible. Don't forget to pick up the item over here. And then you also want to manipulate, if you're going for money, you want to manipulate all of the barrels over here. There's two right next to the dragon statue. So if you want to hit one at a time or two at a time, try to do that. See how I got 2 drops right there? It's not always easy to do that. And then there's one right over here too. So try to get 1,000 from every one of those barrels. And what you can do, let me talk about this first though. Don't do the wind run into the flying swallow, because it tends to target on those first mages. You notice I got 2 beheadings on them. Not at the same time, obviously, but whenever when that fight started, whenever I did a wind run into the flying swallow, it wouldn't target the mages, so I had to just do a standard flying swallow without pressing X+A first, and then it would more easily target those mages. And I think there's like 4 mages, but once the mages are gone, this part is significantly less stressful. There's also chests over here. Any of the boxes that have like fruit on them, they don't give you any money, but any of the barrels, there's a chance that you can get 1,000 from them. See, I just smashed one, didn't have anything. But manipulating those 3 barrels by the dragon statue, there's 3,000 for you right there. And you can just reload until every time you hit one of the barrels, it gives you 1,000. And now the fight's concluding because, and we know that because we have the IS ninjas over here. Be very careful. What you can do is you can let them chase you and throw daggers at them to stagger them, and then get an on-landing charge and just cut them up with her UT. And if there's any barrels left after this, if they haven't got smashed by either you or the enemies or their attacks, you can manipulate those as well. I think I had 2 barrels left over here, so save it. And see, there's 1 barrel over here, it gave me 1,000, and then there's another barrel over here that's still intact. It gave me nothing, but I calculated it and I didn't need anything. See, I have max items. I will have max items after I pick up this. See, I can't even carry that. The best thing to do on these enemies is to just wind run into Fly Swallow to get a critical and behead them like that. There's a Devilway Mushroom. So you should really have no issue fully keeping your key bar full. If you're 1 or 2 short, just repurchase it and add it to your inventory. But as far as your inventory, it's quite doable to have 3 of everything. So when you get in here, you can start it off with a UT if you want to, but you remember, try to get beheadings on those fucking mages because they're just a big hassle. And I think they have increased the strength of her UT because oh, there's the fire streak. You really need to be careful about that. And the mages are pretty good for giving out blue essence off of beheadings. There's a nice counter. What I wish though is some of her UTs, like she'll cut them and then she'll do a backflip, but you can't do an on-landing charge off of it. Like that right there. I wish you can get an on-landing charge off animations like that, but it's just not the case. If it happens again, I'll point it out too. I think it would really help out, Anytime she does a backflip, like she lands, but you can't you can't input an on landing, even like right there. So this fight is not too bad. You notice anytime you're stuck with an IS, try to land with it and then dodge or dash while it's exploding to immune yourself from getting staggered and or damaged, because you don't want to be like jumping and have it explode while you're jumping and you're in the air, because that's going to mess you up big time. And the boss, I can't tell you the boss, like she grabbed me one time and instantly killed me. And then the second time I fought her, I beat her. And it was like a 2 minute affair. You won't need magic on her. She does have grabs and she does block a lot. But the thing you need to know about this boss is just stay as close to her as you can. Just stay right next to her as soon as you can, because the further you are away from her, the more she's just gonna grab, and her grab's pretty quick. And if you don't have Nimpo, you're gonna have to time it pretty accurately to get out of her attack. And she does a similar jump up into the air and a bounce that breaks your guard, just like the Tengus do. So all you really need to do when she is jumping near to you is just keep your block up, and it will guard break you, but you can just dash out of that and go back over to her, and then just keep next to her. Y attacks don't seem to do very much on her. The X attack is basically what you want to do. Just spam the X attack. You can do 360 Y. That's okay to do. But as far as combos, I wouldn't mess around with any of those. I would just repeatedly press X. Okay, so we just have one of these guys left. I was trying to put a heal into my health bar so I wouldn't have to do it every time the fight started, but it turned out the fight was like I didn't face this boss for more than like 3 minutes. So she does this sweeping attack, right? That just pushes you away. So just get close to her, keep your guard up. When you get guard broken, just dash into it. Her weak spot is that purple part of her globe right there, and it's good. But she does block a lot. See how she blocks a lot? But just don't let her get far from you. And this may well be a situation too where they've lowered her HP. I have no idea. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Maybe I've fought her so much on chapter challenge and things like that and in the past that I'm just familiar with her. And I think my failing in the past when I was struggling on her was I was staying away from her too much and trying to use Nimpo on her. And Nimpo, I don't think Nimpo even damages her. But there you go. That's Ione stage. Is that the last female chapter? Fortunately, I think it is. And that's a good damn thing, in my opinion. So I will see you in chapter 12. And until we see each other again, please take care.